This update brought to you by American Implement. Indebted to the past, committed to the future. In a moment, Farm Bureau's Dale Moore.
Would you like to see something done about high gas prices and low unemployment? Western Plains Energy in Campus, Kansas is doing something about it. They're a proud part of Growth Energy, America's ethanol supporters, and they employ 38 people and will be adding more following the expansion. Ethanol fuel not only reduces the cost of regular gasoline, it's good for the environment and keeps money right here in the United States while supporting local rural jobs. Western Plains Energy, doing something for the future.
Wolfter Construction and Irrigation has been around a long time, and a lot of folks have trusted them to design, build, and service all sizes of commercial and on-farm storage for grain and equipment. Wolfter is also known for their outstanding irrigation division, where they stock a complete selection of nozzles, regulators, drops, gear drives, electrical, and structure components. Looking for an electric motor? Wolfter has a large selection in single and three-phase. Next time, reach out to the pros who have decades of experience at taking care of business the right way. Wolfter Construction and Irrigation.
And we're pleased to be joined now by Dale Moore, Executive Vice President of the American Farm Bureau, and another one of those good Southwest Kansas boys that's done us proud and has had a career back east. But Dale, always great to have you and say hello to Kansas.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, Ken, to take a trip back home and step out. These virtual trips are becoming the norm for a while here, but I just appreciate all that you do to help take care of the men and women of agriculture.
Well, now some of the days, some of the dust has settled. We pretty much know where we're going to be when it comes to Congress, the administration. Now as January gets underway, as a former USDA official and somebody that's been playing in that sandlot for a while, how do you see things kind of coming shape with this new Congress?
Well, here's one of the things that, as you know, Ken, our beloved Pat Roberts, who I had the privilege of working for, is stepping down after decades of service, not only as a senator, but as a congressman, as a staffer on Capitol Hill, as a Marine. All of that is kind of a big change for a lot of us in Washington, D.C., not just us folks in Kansas. And as we look ahead, this is going to be one of those times where you see something that doesn't occur often, but we're going to have a new chairman or chairperson of the House, or the House and Ag Committee and Senate Ag Committee, a new ranking member on the House Ag Committee. We've got a number of new members of Congress coming in. Some of the margin that's gotten narrower on the Democrat majority in the House. A lot of those came out of some of the rural districts. So as those changes occur, and then we sit down, and obviously, it looks as if everything is pointing to the President-elect Biden and his team coming in, bringing new leadership in agriculture down at that end. Our focus is going to be on process, making sure that the men and women who are elected or appointed to serve as our representatives on all of these different programs and policy fronts, understand what farming and ranching is all about, what rural America is all about. And frankly, kind of puts their understanding and their taking care of the rural part of this country in ahead a bit of the party politics that goes on.
Well, it seems like there will be a lot of change. It seems like about the time we got used to the last 4 years of all those changes. But that's, I guess, one of the things that makes our democracy great. There are a number of programs. Do we see any holdovers other than obviously the Farm Bill and some of those other things that do have multi-years? But do you think we'll see a dramatic change at USDA?
Well, I would think this is one of those things. Two of the Roberts rules I grew up with, Ken. One is, Dale, if you pick the right issues, you never have to learn new stuff. So you're going to be working on that same issue over and over and over again. So as we look at things like the Farm Bill, like the conservation programs, crop insurance, the rural development programs, the nutrition programs, those are pretty well set in motion and set in, whether it's in the Farm Bill or other authorities. And the career employees at USDA, when you got, when I was at USDA, there were 120,000 full-time employees between the headquarters around the United States and in 64 countries around the world. So of those 120,000 employees, there's about 225 to 250 political appointees. So the math is not too hard to figure out that, yes, there's going to be a tremendous number of folks at USDA, just pick one agency, that are still there, which is why, President George W. Bush always made it loud and clear to the folks that work for him as political appointees: treat your career colleagues very nicely, because if you don't, that clanking sound that you hear all over Washington, D.C. is them locking their chairs down and saying, you know what, we're just going to wait these folks out until they decide to go home and we get a new crew in. So the men and women that work day in and day out for agriculture, again, I'm stealing President Bush's line when he said, remember, you work for me, but they work for the American people. And that's what we've got to respect, and what I appreciated from my time there.
Dale Moore is with the American Farm Bureau Federation. Let's take a break. We'll come back and talk about an announcement made that brought a lot of farm groups together. We'll do that in just a moment.
S&S Trailer Sales, with 2 locations in Ness City, Kansas, is where everybody goes to buy or rent trailers. They feature the all-new, all-aluminum Mauer grain trailer with all of the electric options, the easy-to-load detached trailers, and a huge stock of header trailers. At the west location, you'll find bumper poles, goosenecks, and oilfield specialty trailers, along with flat and utility beds for pickups. S&S Trailer Sales in Ness City and on the web, but remember, you do have to spell out the "and."
The cost of everything has gone up dramatically over the last 75 years. With one exception: keeping electricity affordable.
Wheatland Electric, delivering energy for life, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
And our guest this week is Dale Moore, Executive Vice President of the American Farm Bureau Federation. And towards the last quarter of 2020, you and other ag groups came together. Maybe some might say kind of unusual to get together, but honestly, there's been some relationships with the Farm Bureau and Farmers Union especially, but brought along a couple of other players as some of these farm groups look to get ahead of discussions about climate and the role agriculture plays in it.
Well, Ken, one of the things that I know you've given me some good advice over the years on this front too. We talked about, you hear this term sustainability, and certainly, from all of the enterprises that you and your family have been involved in, that sustainability, however that gets defined, fill up about 3 reams of paper. But the reality is that it's got to be founded, it's got to be based in economic sustainability. So farmers and ranchers need economic sustainability, which then facilitates their ability to operate in all of these others. I know it probably sounds redundant to say it this way, but we need sustainability requires economic stability. So when you put all that together, earlier this year, back in February of 2020, President Zippy Duvall, my boss, and a number of other groups, kind of the boots in the dirt groups, came together and formed a coalition that focused on sustainability. About the same time that one rolled out, the early part of the year, another group started coming together that included some environmental groups, some nature groups like the Environmental Defense Fund, the Nature Conservancy. And folks are asking, so what is this all about? Well, from their standpoint, they want folks that they can work with that will help on the legislative front and the regulatory front, make sure we're, protecting the environment. We're being quote unquote sustainable. We're focused on the climate types of issues, finding solutions. From the standpoint of the farmers and ranchers and other interest in the ag sector, it's about how do we do this in a way that incentivizes farmers and ranchers, that helps find ways that, as a farmer rancher, I can afford to take this new technology or this new innovation or even this new system of operating and put it in place on my operation, make that function, but also keep the emphasis on voluntary, collaborative, cooperative type programming, as opposed to coming up with mandates with punitive enforcement measures, because those will never be sustainable in the long run. You've got to have something that incentivizes me as a farmer or rancher to want to keep doing this. And if I happen to be making money while doing it, bingo, we've got a winner.
Well, I think it's going to be interesting how that continues to develop. Dale, there's a number of other issues we could talk about, but we know that those have to wait for another day. But again, appreciate your time and kind of giving us your insight and updates on what's going on. And as always, it's great to catch up with you.
Thank you, Ken. And I can't tell you how much we appreciate all you do to keep the word of agriculture and what's going on, keep folks not only informed, but keep us informed back in Washington, D.C. And thank you for the trip back to Kansas, brother.
Great. Dale Moore, Executive Vice President of the American Farm Bureau, has joined us. Stay with us. We'll have more coming up.
When you've had a best friend for over 50 years, you develop a trust. And the Scott Co-op has been a trusted rural friend since 1957. A co-op keeps money in the area, doing business for and with their members. And that helps keep their hometown thriving with keeping money in the community. Scott Co-op is not just an elevator. It's the rural way of doing business. So, when you see an elevator, remember your friends at Scott Co-op.
1030 KBUF has ag information every day, starting a little bit after 6 o'clock in the morning. Max Armstrong, Tony St. James, Andrew McCrae, Daryl Anderson, and myself bring you ag news and market information throughout the day. You can be social with us on Facebook and Twitter. And remember, you can listen to any Southwind broadcasting station at westernkansasnews.com. I'm Ken Rogers. Thanks for watching.